Hello everyone, I am Kinshuk Parashar and I welcome you to studyIQ. Now, in this session, we are going to start our discussion on chapter 4 of Science and Technology book. In the previous lectures, we have seen the different sections of it. We have talked about the respiratory system, we have talked about immune system, nervous system, etc. Now, in this session, we are going to talk about one of the very important organ system of our body, that is digestive system. So we are going to see about the digestive system today, like what are the different organs there, what is the different thing which is going on in our digestive system, how the food is digested. Okay, so let us first see the image of our digestive system. You can see this pipe-like structure which is coming. It is also called as food pipe or esophagus. Okay, this is the esophagus. Then we have a J-shaped stomach in our body. We also have this supply of liver, and there is a small organ here located here which is called as the gallbladder. Okay. Apart from that, you can see that we have the small intestine and large intestine. Now a small intestine is not small. Small intestine is quite large. It can even go to 7.5 meter in length. Okay. Now this large intestine has been called as large due to its width, due to its cross section. It is quite larger in comparison to the small intestine. Okay. So small intestine is quite long. It is quite long. It is 7.5 meter long. In comparison to that, a small intestine is not that much long. Okay. It is larger due to its cross section. It has a broader cross section which makes it the larger intestine. Okay. So they are the main sections of our digestive system. We are going to see that what is the role being performed by each of them. There is also a role of mouth, teeth, and all other related sections in this. So let us first talk about, there are two basic parts of our digestive system. One is called as the gastrointestinal tract. Okay. This gastrointestinal tract simply means the hollow organs which are there. It includes the food pipe, it includes the stomach which is there, the food pipe, the esophagus which is there, the stomach which is there. Okay. It also includes your intestine, both large intestine and small intestine. Okay. So they are the hollow structures which are present in our digestive system. They are simply called as gastrointestinal tract. Okay. There is second part which is called as the biliary system, and it consists of the glands in the body which helps in digestion. There is one major thing here which is in form of liver. Then we have gallbladder. And then we also have the presence of pancreas. Okay. So they consist of the biliary system of the digestive part of the digestive system of human body. So we have got two different organs, two different components of our digestive system. Gastrointestinal tract consisting of the hollow organs of the digestive system. And the second part, the biliary system, consisting of the glands which are there. Okay. Now, let us see this. Like this alimentary canal, the one which starts from mouth and goes to the rectum and anus part, that is our alimentary canal. So let us see that what are the different parts of it, what are the different organs in there. The first important thing is the buccal cavity or the oral cavity. It consists of three things: the teeth, the tongue, and the saliva. Okay. Now see here, when we talk about the mouth, it is leading to the buccal cavity, and this buccal cavity is nothing but a space. This is basically a huge space in our mouth, and in this buccal cavity, the air and water, the air and food are going simultaneously. Okay. Now you will find that in our mouth itself, there are a number of teeth. They are following this one simple pattern: 2 1 2 3, 2 1 2 3. Basically, you can see that like we have two incisors, one canine, then premolar, which are 2 in number, and molars, which are 3 on number, on each side of the teeth. Okay. So in the bottom side, in the lower jaw, you will find that we have 2 incisors on the left and then 2 on the right. Then after, 1 canine on left, 1 canine on right. Then 2 premolars on the left, 2 on the right, and then again 3 molars on the left and 3 on the right. So combinedly we have got total of, you can see we have got total of 8 and 8 16 in the lower jaw, and the same in there in the upper section. Okay. So in normal human adult, you will find that there are 16 teeth in the lower jaw and 16 in the upper portion. So they are in this manner. You know that what is the function of them. When we have to simply cut something, we have this incisors. When we are cutting the food, that is done by the incisors. Then the canines, when we have to tear something, okay, especially those who are consuming flesh like things, flesh, if they consume meat, then you have the use of canines. Okay. In the animals, like if you talk about the dogs or if you talk about the other animals, you will find that the canines are very much well developed. We don't consume the raw meat. That's why we don't have so much utility of the canines. But in the case of those organisms who can consume the raw meat, they also have well developed canines. For example, you can talk about the dogs, you can talk about lions or other organisms. Okay. Then premolars and molars again help in chewing the food. Okay. So that is the teeth part. Okay. Now you will find that like there is one thing, there is also this muscular structure, the tongue. The tongue is helping in mixing the food again and again. It helps in mixing the food with the saliva. And the saliva, which is being secreted by the salivary gland in our mouth, it helps in breaking down the starch into the sugar. Okay. It helps in breaking down the starch into sugar in our mouth. So the process of digestion starts in the mouth itself. First of all, the teeth is helping in breaking the food into simple components. Then the tongue is helped to mix it with saliva. The saliva is helping it to break down the starch into form of sugar. Okay. And this saliva, what it is consisting of? Basically, it is consisting of electrolytes such as sodium, potassium, chloride, bicarbonate, etc. Okay. So they are containing certain electrolytes like the sodium, potassium, the chloride, bicarbonate, etc. Okay. See, so this process of digestion starts in the mouth itself. We can see the role of teeth is there, the role of tongue is there, then the role of salivary gland is there. After that, there is one pipe, there is one structure which is just for passing of the food. And this is called as food pipe or esophagus. Okay. Now, this is responsible for passing of the food from the buccal cavity to the stomach. Okay. So this is just by rhythmic movements, just by proper movements, it is just pushing the food downwards. That is the role of food pipe. Okay. Now there is one thing, epiglottis. You know that epiglottis is blocking the entry of the food into the air pipe, the trachea. Okay. Then if we talk about the alimentary canal, after the food pipe, the next section is stomach. It is a J-shaped structure. It is a J-shaped structure. You might have seen that image of stomach. It is a J-shaped structure. Okay. So now if we talk about this stomach, what is the different things which are being done here? Basically, you will find that in the stomach, there is release of hydrochloric acid, HCl. Okay. Hydrochloric acid is released into the stomach. And how it helps? Basically, this hydrochloric acid is serving multiple purposes here. First of all, if certain pathogens are coming from outside, if the pathogens are coming along with food from outside, they are getting eliminated. Okay. Then it also helps in dissolving the various chemical bonds in the food. Okay. So again, digestion of food, or you can say that dissolution of bonds. Dissolution of bonds in the food. Then it also creates a conducive environment for working of certain digestive enzymes. Okay. There is one such particular thing called pepsin. Pepsin is very much helpful for breaking down the proteins, okay, for metabolism of the protein. And this is creating a conducive environment for acting of digestive enzymes. Conducive environment for digestive enzymes. And these digestive enzymes like pepsin. Pepsin is having the role of breaking down the proteins in the stomach. So that is one thing which is done in the stomach. Okay, digestive enzymes are there. Then you will also find that there is presence of mucus. Okay, this mucus is helping to prevent the stomach lining from getting corroded by the HCl. You know that there is hydrochloric acid in the stomach. Now, the lining of this stomach, the parts of the stomach has to be saved from the HCl, and for that stomach walls have the release of mucus as well. So there is a release of mucus here also in the stomach, just to prevent the lining of the stomach from the hydrochloric acid. So that is the role of this stomach part. Okay. And from stomach the food enters into the small intestine. Okay. So now when the food is going into a small intestine, it is getting the enzymes from 3 different sources. Okay. It is getting some enzymes from the liver, it is getting the enzymes from pancreas, and it is also having its own digestive enzymes. Okay. From the liver, we have the secretion of bile juice, which helps in the breakdown of, again, we have the fats. From the pancreas, the pancreatic juice are coming, which helps to metabolize the proteins and the carbohydrates. Okay. And then the remaining food items are digested by the help of digestive enzymes, which are released by the small intestine itself. Okay. So the final process of digestion takes place in the small intestine. Okay. The final portion of digestion takes place in this small intestine. From the small intestine, the food goes into the large intestine. But before that, we have another process. Okay. There is also presence of very fine finger-like structures. Very fine finger-like structures, which are called as villi. These finger-like structures in the small intestine helps in absorption of the digested food. The food which has been digested, it has been converted into simpler forms, is now taken up by the bloods, which are, or you can say that this villi, they are having these blood capillaries. The blood which is moving in these blood capillaries are absorbing the digested food from the small intestine. Okay. So these villis are acting as the site of absorption of the digested food. Okay. So that is again something which is done in the small intestine portion. See here, these villis are very fine structures just in order to increase the surface area, so that if there is more surface area, there is going to be more absorption of the food item. Okay. So the second important part, first of all, we have seen it has got digestive enzymes from various portions, liver, pancreas, and its own digestive enzymes. The second important part, it has fine structures, and these structures are absorbing the digested food from the body. Okay. Then there is the role of the large intestine. Okay. If we talk about the large intestine, it is consisting of 3 parts: cecum, colon, and rectum. Okay. If we talk about the cecum, okay, now see here, this is a small blind sac that have some symbiotic microorganisms. It also consists of some symbiotic microorganisms. What is the main role of this large intestine? Its main role is to absorb some water. Absorb water and salt. Okay. Absorb water and salt. The digestion process is completed in a small intestine itself. When it passes through the large intestine, there is absorption of the water and then absorption of some salt by the large intestine. Okay. See, there is also a vermiform appendix in the case of small intestine, and it is considered as a vestigial organ, means having no such use. Okay. Then it opens into colon, and then finally it goes into the goes through the rectum and is ejected out of the body, is removed from the body through anus. Okay. Now, if we talk about this alimentary canal, if we talk about this large intestine, you can see that absorption of water, minerals, and certain drugs, that is the main work of this large intestine. Okay. And then it secretes mucus. It also secretes mucus, which helps in adhering the waste. Okay. Means it clubs the particle together so that, and makes it lubricating for the easy passage of the undigested food. Okay. So that is the role of the large intestine. Then this is the part of gastrointestinal tract. Okay. The second important part is the digestive glands. The digestive glands which are there in the body. Okay. One of the digestive gland is saliva. Okay. Saliva is basically generated from parotoids which are located in the cheeks. The maxillary glands which are situated between the lower jaw and the sublingual glands which are positioned beneath the tongue. Okay. So from three different areas the salivary gland is basically released. Okay. Now they release salivary fluid into the buccal cavity. We have already seen that sodium, potassium, then chlorine, bicarbonate. They are some of the electrolytes which are present in the salivary gland. And what is the role of it? It converts starch into sugar. This is responsible for conversion of a starch into sugar. That is the role of salivary glands. Okay. Then after, if we talk about the liver, basically liver is producing a fluid which is called as the bile. Okay. It is producing a fluid which is called as bile. And what is the role of it? It helps in digestion of the fat. Okay. Now, do understand one more thing here. This bile is stored in a sac called the gallbladder. So, gallbladder, which we have seen the image just below the liver, this is the position where the bile juice is stored from the after the secretion from the liver. Okay. Now, if we talk about this liver, it has got two different lobes and they are called as hepatic lobules. Okay. Basically, it travels through the hepatic ducts and it is then stored in the gallbladder. Okay. So in the liver, we are having two different things. There is a gallbladder and the hepatic duct. Okay. They are forming a common bile duct, and these common bile duct along with the pancreatic duct opens in one part of the small intestine which is called as duodenum. Okay. So they are opening into the small intestine. I have told you earlier also, in the small intestine we have secretions from pancreas, we have secretion from the liver, and then the digestive enzymes which are secreted by the small intestine itself. Okay. So from the liver there is generation of this bile juice which is responsible for digestion of the fats. Okay. And remember, what is the function of gallbladder? To store the bile juice. Okay. Then the next important part is the pancreas. Okay. This pancreas is basically found just below the stomach, just beneath the stomach, and it produces the pancreatic juice. Okay. So what is the role of it? They are acting on the carbohydrates and proteins. Okay. They are acting on carbohydrate and protein. So see, liver is acting on the fat and this pancreatic juice is acting on carbohydrate and proteins, and it is breaking down into simpler form. Okay. Then after, like suppose if we talk about the pancreas, so pancreas have done their job, the bile juice which has done their job. Now it goes to the lower section of the small intestine, and from there the intestinal juice completes the digestion of all the components of the food. Okay. See, there is one more interesting thing about the pancreas. The pancreas are acting as both endocrine and exocrine gland. It functions as both endocrine and exocrine. In the last session, I have told you that endocrine glands are those glands who have their secretion directly into the blood, whereas exocrine glands are those glands which have a duct-like structure. From there, they are releasing their secretions. From there, they are releasing their hormones. So pancreas are acting as both endocrine and exocrine. Okay. See, if we talk about the exocrine, they have got this pancreatic juice that contains the enzymes, and you have just seen that there is a duct, like we have just talked about it. The pancreatic duct and the common bile duct, they are combinedly going into the duodenum, the upper portion of the small intestine. Okay. Then that is the part where it is acting as an exocrine gland because it has got its own duct. So there it is acting as an exocrine gland. But then it has other functions. For example, it also releases certain hormones like insulin and glucagon. and this is directly released into the blood. So in this portion, it is acting as an endocrine gland. So pancreas functions as both endocrine and exocrine gland. Okay. Whereas liver, you have seen, they have also got the bile duct, so they are acting as an exocrine gland. Okay. So they are the all parts of digestive system. We have seen how they are functioning. Just to revise them once again, we have first, like if we talk about it, first the food enters into the mouth portion. Okay. Here we have the teeth, we have the presence of tongue and the salivary glands. The teeth help in breaking down the physical breakdown. The saliva which is there, which is secreted by the salivary gland. Now it converts the food into simpler molecules from starch to sugar. The tongue is helping in mixing these foods again and again. Okay. So that is what happens into the mouth. Then it goes to the food pipe. Then it goes to the food pipe or the esophagus. Okay. Now from this part, the food is passed into the stomach. Okay. In the stomach, we can see that there is again release of hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is performing the three functions. It is killing the pathogens which are coming from the food. It is also helping in dissolving of the bonds of the food items so that it can easily break down. Then it is also providing a conducive environment for working of the digestive enzymes such as pepsin. Pepsin helps in breakdown of the protein in the food. Okay, so that is the third part, that is stomach. From the stomach, the food passes into the small intestine. It passes into the small intestine. And in the small intestine, again we have seen there is secretion from three different parts, that is liver, pancreas, and then small intestine itself. So from all these three things, the different juices are coming up, the different enzymes are coming up. The liver, it releases the bile juice which helps in the digestion of fat. The pancreas are releasing the pancreatic juice which helps in digestion of carbohydrate and proteins. And then the remaining food is digested by the intestinal enzymes. Okay. Here in the case of a small intestine, we have again seen that there is presence of villi, that is finger-like structures, which helps in absorption of the digested food. Okay. Then after, the remaining undigested food passes on to the large intestine. Okay. And here in the large intestine, what is done? Basically, there is absorption of excess water or some salts and minerals from the undigested food. The remaining food is passed to the rectum, and from there it is released in form of egestion through anus. Okay. So that is the part of the digestive system. We have seen how it operates. Okay. So in the next session, we will talk about many more other topics of this. There is also one part of this chapter, that is reproductive system. So in the upcoming session, we will talk about that, and then we will see the other chapters. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you and all the best. Thank you.